We're now going to have a look at our reports for our stock. We click on stock, you can see there's a number of reports here. First one is our sales detail report. We can order it by key code or order it by date. Then you can see here are the sales that we had, and it has the quantity sold, the amount they were sold for, and a sales total. We have a sales summary which just summarizes our sales for the period. Stock on hand. Our stock on hand report will list all the stock we have by category and subcategory, and give us a stock on hand at cost and stock on hand at sell, as well as if we've got current orders, it'll tell us the amount that's outstanding for those orders. This report can be useful for determining your stock levels, especially you may have reporting requirements for taxation and other things where you're required to know your current stock levels. That's our stock on hand. Sales analysis report. This report reports for the last 4 months. It'll tell you the amount of the actual sales. So for instance, for this item, we have $35 one sale, any markdowns that were occurred, and the profit and the tax that was paid on those, and then it summarizes the same figures for the last 4 months. So for the 3 months prior to that, it only gives you the sales total. For the current month, it gives you the breakdown with the summary. Our stock coverage report. Now this report can be useful. For any of these reports, you can select by category or subcategory. For instance, if we only want to look at our gloves here, we do our stock coverage report. Okay, we've got our UFC MMA gloves, we've got our cost and sell. We've had 3 sales, so it's worked out our average sales per week at the moment is 3. Our current stock on hand is 2, and we've got 2 on order. It's worked out our optimum stock level is 12 to give us 4 weeks coverage for those 3 items. We've done this report for 4 weeks. So the required stock that we need to order to bring us up to that level is 2 more items. That's what this report is telling us. This can be useful for tuning your stock levels to make sure you're not holding more stock than you require, and that you're not going to run out of items. With your week's coverage, you want to set that to be a figure that represents the amount of time between your orders. Our completed orders simply gives us a list of any orders that have been completed within the period that we've specified up here. So you can see there's a summary of our orders. And similarly, our stock purchase does the same thing. It just gives us a summary of all the items that have been purchased within that period by order. So you can see we had order 3, order 4. Gives us a total purchase cost and a total retail value with our percentage markup in there as well. So that's our stock reporting. The last item we have with our stock is our stock take or count option. Here we can count and update our stock. Now, there's 2 ways this screen can function. First of all, we can just simply go in and adjust stock. If we change this here, it's warning us that there's limited reporting of the changes made. Here, whatever we enter, we directly update our stock on hand. So for instance, we could just type in 3 here, and that's going to change our current stock on hand for our UFC cage hat to be 3. The preferable way, and we can change that back to 0, the preferable way to update our stock is to actually run a stock take. When we run a stock take, what we do is first of all we take a snapshot of the categories that we're going to update. So if we take a snapshot now of all the categories, we've now taken a stock on hand for all of our categories. We can print out a count sheet. This simply gives us a physical sheet of paper where we can actually count our items and record them next to the actual items that we have here. And then we count our items. Once we've counted our items, then we enter them in here. So for instance, if I discovered I only had 4 remaining in stock of the mesh caged hat, then I'd change that to be 4, and all the others may be correct, and we may only have 3 of those. Maybe that we were sent one of the wrong item here, for instance, so instead of receiving 5 of the large t-shirts, we actually received only 4, and instead of getting 5 of the white for the small, we received 6. That's something that may happen with our other stock on item here. It may have been stolen, it may have been lost, and let's just assume that is correct, and our UFC gloves are correct. We've changed 3 items here. One, we've reduced the stock. Another, we've reduced the stock, and one, we've increased the stock. Now, if we apply our count, that actually updates our stock on hand figures with the figures that we counted. Now we can report our result, and you can see here that we reduced this by 1, so we've got a negative $10 here. For our Ultimate Fighter t-shirts, we've got a negative $15 and a positive $15. They cancel each other out, so we've in fact got a shrinkage of $10 over that whole stock take. And if you had a large shrinkage figure, then obviously that may prompt you to one of 2 things: your stock's going missing somehow, perhaps through theft, or perhaps you've got a problem where stock's being sold and not actually being entered in the system. And again, this could be an indication of perhaps that's something that either procedurally isn't correct, or perhaps again something is happening, such as people are making a sale, keeping the funds, and not recording the items as being sold. So this is a way for you to keep track of what's happening with your stock. Okay. Lastly, you can delete a stock take if you wanted to. If you were part way through it and you decided you no longer wanted that, you could delete it, or you can simply delete it to remove it from the system. And that's our stock take function. Okay, the last report we're looking at here is our stock on hand updates report. Now this report here reports what updates have occurred. So if, for instance, here I'm just selecting our gloves to report on, then here we've got our UFC MMA glove, and we've had a sale of 1 item, a sale of 2 items. So these are a negative adjustment to our stock on hand. And then we had an order of 5 items. So in this scenario, what it's indicating to us is we had some sales before our order was actually entered in the system. This isn't uncommon. We may have received the order and made some sales and then processed the order into the system. And then we've had our stock take, and there was no adjustments made as a result of our stock take. If we'd updated our stock as a result of our stock take, that would be a figure there.